Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, my name is Kim. This is Core Union. I want to share an email that one of my awesome and amazing clients sent to me back on July 27th. And he basically got amazing and incredible movement with his SP. And then, which this is very common, and this happens to a lot of people. So if it has happened to you, which I see that it actually does happen to a lot of people, it happened to me too. I think if we're being honest, it's going to happen because it's just part of the process of the old story. It is this precise moment that almost every single video of every single YouTuber, of every single book, that is all what this is about, to just remain in faith and persist and dig your heels in. But if it does happen and something goes against you, as soon as you can, you pull yourself out of it and you recognize this is not the end. This is simply the old story. So this is an old manifestation. I choose to let this go, and I'm choosing who I am now, the life that I have now, with my SP now, with the money that I deserve to make, with the money that we deserve to make. What's our lifestyle and all of that. So it's a choice and it's a decision. And all of this is based on having a foundational understanding and being and remaining in trust in the unseen, faith in the unseen. And while I know a lot of YouTubers are like, you don't need to believe, you don't need to trust, you just need to shift, that can be true, but that is kind of also master level. So you can affirm for being a master level master manifester 100%. But if you're still learning to walk, when you get up, you might trip and fall a couple times, and you want to be gentle with yourself. You want to cheer yourself on and give yourself a ton of love and just have compassion for yourself. Okay. So, anyway, with all of that, before I get into this, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. If you love my content, if you want me to be your coach, email me a short description to kim@coreunion.com. And then you book your session with me at my website, coreunion.com, 30-minute package. 30-minute or a package. Most people do prefer the packages. And then we'll get back to you with my next available session after you've booked with me. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to dig right into this. So he wrote, "Hi, love. I had been doing so well sending my SP loving thoughts the last few weeks and really leaning into the idea that what I feel, he's feeling. So, of course, he must be missing me and loving me too. Then he texted and we went for a walk. He literally told me so many things I wanted to hear, like he's been sober for a few months and in therapy for 6 months. I've been in therapy for 3 months and kept hoping he'd start. What's funny is he started before I did. See how I told you guys? Whatever needs to happen in the middle to make the two of you guys stronger for each other will happen naturally without you making it. You don't have to make it happen. Okay, let me get back to this. We go to the same therapy office too. That's really funny. So they never even saw each other. You see how that is? I love it. It had been months since we saw each other, and we kept saying we love each other and missed each other over the 2.5 hours that we spent together. That's beautiful. We were so affectionate and kept hugging and holding each other. And there were several times we almost kissed. At one point, when we were walking, wait, let me say this. At one point, when the walk was coming to an end, he asked what was on my mind, and I told him I wanted to kiss him, but wasn't sure if it was what was best or what he wanted. So we want to go back to that probably. Even though the wanting was in his eyes, he said, let's just go this once without kissing. And he wasn't sure either. So I just want to stop right there and just say that you want to remember that essentially your specific person is you in another body. You guys share it's like you guys share the same soul. You guys share the same consciousness when it comes to the relationship. When you are starting to feel a little unsure, and then your person says that they're feeling unsure, it's like if you were standing in front of an actual mirror in your home, and there are so many different ways of mirroring things, but this is going to be a new way that I've never heard anybody else talk about it. If you stand in front of a mirror and you say something to the mirror, and I'm saying in an actual mirror, but instead of seeing your own reflection, when you see your own reflection, you imagine that your reflection is your specific person, because you guys are perfectly mirroring each other. Okay. So if you say to the mirror, I'm not sure if this is what you want. Imagine that it's your person then reflecting back to you. I'm not sure if this is what you want. Maybe we shouldn't do this. So, in other words, deep down inside of you, you're actually not sure if you're ready for this. Okay. Then you take that information, you're aware of it, flip that around to being what you want. So that's just another way of mirroring. When it comes to deep soul connections and mirror souls, that I highly suggest that you do that. Okay. And there's another story that I might say on this video. I'm not sure. I might save it for another video. Okay. Let me go on with this. Sorry about that. He said, let's just go this once without kissing. He wasn't sure either. Overall, it was like a dream come true. That was Sunday, the 21st. We've texted throughout the week, but I've been struggling now ever since we hung out. Now, you see what's starting to happen in him is his fears, worries, and doubts that are still kind of there. They were below the surface. Now they're starting to rise up. And this is the point where you actually want to recognize that all of these things are just coming up to be released and let go. And you continue to go into making the decision that the two of you guys are happy, blissful, in harmony together. So this is where you definitely pull yourself out of the fear, the worry, and the doubt. Recognize this is all just the old story coming up to be released. So we've talked about before on my channel. You can see it as being in the eye of the storm, the chaos that's kind of inside of you, the roller coaster of feelings and emotions. That's like the storm, the chaos, the hurricane, but in the eye of the storm, it's cool, calm, collected, and still. So you want to pull yourself out of the storm, put yourself into the eye of the storm of being cool, calm, collected, and stay still, stay remaining and trust now. So this is where you go right to the end. You don't worry anymore about the middle. You don't worry about the middle. It's also the analogy that I've given of or the metaphor of the cut flowers. The cut flowers, they're beautiful. You've put them in a vase. They're no longer connected to the root of the roots, right? So that would be the old story. But oftentimes, even though the flowers are no longer even alive, they bloom, right? And when they bloom, they look very real still. But if you just know that they are actually not, like your old stories, not even alive anymore, it will wither away. Take your attention off of the bloom. Take your attention off of the bloom, because that's all it is. Okay, let me get back to this. All right. So now he said it was easier to send him loving thoughts and ignore the 3D when we weren't in touch. He mentioned over text that he's moving units in his apartment building, and I didn't inquire because my hope is that he's moving out of the unit that he was with his ex. So now I'm not even going to read anymore, because then the rest of that was just basically his fears coming up and his doubts. And he was getting in his head about worrying about things that weren't even real. So he was then back in the old story. And then he sent me another follow-up email, and he basically watched one of my videos where I was talking about this exact thing, where when you're back in touch with your specific person, if the old story does come up, this is where you pull out and you dig your heels in trust, faith, love, passion, security, health, best friends, best lovers, amazing, happy life together, a lot of laughter together, holding hands together, hugging, kissing, making love, going to the grocery store, going to museums, going on trips together, going on road trips together. You name it, but you go into your imagination and go over the top in your imagination with the relationship that you're past the middle. And this is the point where a lot of you guys, instead, what you might do, which I'm sorry, you need to stop doing, is then you go into hyper focus of the middle. And now you're trying to control, oh, they called me and texted me and said, I can come over. They called me and texted me and said that this, that happened. They called me to say they feel this way. Don't do that. That's where you're starting to get it here back into the 3D. And now you're trying to micromanage every little thing. And then you get drained, because if during this process, if you keep getting bits and pieces of the old story, which is exactly your fear, then a lot of times people kind of, they go into a struggle of it. So now I just want to talk a little bit more about going over the top with your manifestations. And you can apply this to money. You can apply it to health, relationships of any kind. So let's talk quickly just about money, because manifestation is simply your programming getting reflected back to you. A lot of times you guys are making comments like, if I'm so powerful, then why isn't he texting me? Well, you don't know your power yet for you to ask that question. So that's kind of why you actually haven't stepped into your power yet. And your power is actually in trust in the process, in knowing that your belief system, your programming is what has shaped and formed your reality. So when it comes to things like career and money and opportunities, for example, like let's say that you guys want to, I think I talked enough about SPA. I want to talk a little bit about money here, because a lot of you guys are focusing all of your energy and attention on your SP, and then your money and your income and your security is actually suffering. And that's not good. So let's talk a little bit about manifesting opportunities, manifesting being the strongest version of you with the money that you actually deserve. If you want to make, let's say, for example, $10,000 a month, then go all in and imagine yourself being the version of you who's making $20,000 or $30,000 a month. If you want to buy a home for $500,000, $500,000, but you have no money and you believe that your credit score is affecting you, whether you can get approved for a mortgage or not. This happened to me. This happened to me when I had my interior design business. I wanted to buy my own home. And I had all of these stories within me about my credit score because I had financed the business myself, because I wasn't going to get approved for a mortgage and this and that and the other. So I started, let me take a sip. I started putting all of my energy and sights on. Now, at this point, this is when I was sleeping on the mattress on the floor. Mattress floor, cardboard boxes, didn't even have lamps, had 3 bath towels to my name, couldn't afford anything. Okay. But in my mind, I was setting my sights on dream homes. And then I ended up getting, like, all these bad things were happening in the place I was living. And even then, I was still persisting and I was still actually grateful for the place, even though it was making me sick. I ended up going to work one day. One of my wealthy clients and customers who knew I was in a relationship at the time. He was married. He was wealthy. He had bought a second home. And I told him what happened with the place I was living. And he said, just move into my place. Like, you can literally we can do a lease to own if you want. It was a dream house. It was like a storybook fairy tale home. It was amazing and incredible. So he moved out with his wife and his family, and he allowed me to move in with my spouse at the time. And then I'm just paying him. And that place, moving into that place was such a pivotal moment for me, because even in that place had a best-selling author actually who taught law of attraction who lived there. So it was such an amazing thing of being in alignment. So I was living there. And then from there, my business kept increasing and growing. And then I was going over the top because I'm like living in this house. But then I started actually wanting a different home. So now I have my sights on a home that was well over $1 million. It was well over $1 million at the time. Now I'm leasing to own. I didn't believe that I could get approved for a mortgage, but I had it very clearly the style home that I wanted. I knew what I wanted to feel in the home. I set my sights on a house that was over $1 million. I ended up going, like, this is over some time, and I'm visualizing living in the home. I'm loving the home. I'm falling in love with the home. I end up having an urge and inspired action to go in town and see a hairdresser that I never met before. I never went to before. I was doing my own hair. I still do. I literally cut my own hair. But at the time, I was like, I just feel like going to somebody else. I make an appointment with the owner. He's amazing and incredible. We literally are bonded right away. We're laughing, we're talking. One thing led to another. He's asking me, so where do you live? And, because it's a small town. Long story short, he ends up telling me his house is on the market. Guess what house it is? It ends up being the exact house that I was visualizing that was well over $1 million. It's on the market for sale. He ends up telling me he's considering dropping the price. And then I tell him a little bit of my situation. He said, well, I would entertain the idea of you renting to own. If you want to come over, you can look at it after work. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so you see how I was inspired to go here. And then I end up meeting the exact person who owns that exact property. I had no idea. And now we're already talking in that same, like within an hour, that he's open to letting me even lease to own his property, because that would be the most natural way at that time for me, because I didn't believe I could get approved for the mortgage right then and there. So anyway, long story short, I'm trying to speed this up. I go there, and then when I'm there, I'm actually like, I love this house. It's beautiful. It smells amazing. The molding, the crown molding, the lighting, the hardwood floors, the windows, the ocean view, everything is exactly like I love it, but it actually doesn't feel like this is my home. So I remained friends with him, but I said, you know what, just sell the house. This isn't quite the home for me right now. I just had some concerns with, there wasn't a large yard, there wasn't a lot of privacy, and I really love a large yard. I need privacy. I can't stand being in the middle of everything. And it was kind of in the middle of everything. So then I got clear again and I made the decision. And then I was looking at other homes. Long story short, I ended up finding the perfect home for me. It was brand new construction. It ended up being almost $600,000 a month. What am I saying? $600,000, but it was brand new construction, never lived in, full privacy, giant backyard. It was everything that I wanted and more. I met that developer. We made a deal. I offered asking price right then and there, but I told him I just need a few months to get approved for the mortgage. He let me lease it for a few months. Boom. I was the first and only person to live in that house. It was everything I wanted. I then got approved for the mortgage for that. Now, so keep in mind that I went over the top while I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor, and there were all these bridges of events that brought me to the brand new home that ended up being $600,000. But when I started this, had no income. I do like the idea of going past what you actually want, because when you get super grandiose about it, you are going to end up manifesting somewhere in here that actually ends up being more than what you currently want. I hope that makes sense. So if you want to manifest $10,000 a month and you're currently making $7,000 a month, then you want to be focusing on $20,000 or $25,000 a month. And you will basically end up somewhere probably around $12,000 or $13,000 or $14,000 a month when you start to creep up over 10,000, which is what you originally wanted, but you were putting a limit on yourself. Then you start to up the number. And if it feels like it's too much of a lie to you, then you scale it back again. That's how I've always manifested. Start becoming conscious and choosing the version of you in the morning when you first wake up who makes $25,000 a month. If you are only at $3,000 a month and you want to, if you're saying, well, my limit right now is 5,000, fine. Then say you're making $6,000 or $7,000. Okay. If you're going straight to, I'm a wealthy billionaire, I'm a millionaire, I make $100,000 a month. That's what sometimes people do. That's okay too. But if it feels like too much of a lie and you've been doing it for a very long time and you're not really feeling it, you need to scale it back just a little bit. Trust me on this, because when I first started manifesting the money, I did go grandiose. That was way overboard. And then I scaled it back. And then I found that creamy center. That's like something that my SP has used that term before. But I found what felt, yes, I can buy into this. And then I just kept scaling it up, scaling it up, scaling it up. Anyway, I hope that this video helps you guys. I love you guys so much. Do this. I promise you, you will make changes in your reality, in your life, with the money, with the finances, and with things with your specific person. But when you start asking constant questions about the 3D circumstances, you are literally just like, this should show yourself that you don't quite understand the process yet. So you need to go back to the basics and do a little studying. Okay. I can help you. You can reach out to me for a session. Before I do end this, I just want to remind you guys that everything with manifestation, anything and everything that you're manifesting is always a decision. And it's a decision that you're going to allow yourself to experience what you deserve. It doesn't matter the money of the amount of the money. It doesn't matter the type of relationship. It doesn't matter. You deserve everything. And everything is, if you can feel it deep down in your heart and soul, then you can have it because that already exists. That version of you is already created. All of creation is already done. Doing the inner work, finding the techniques that work for you are simply ways to keep yourself in alignment and in trust of that because it's already done. So you won't veer off and make a decision that's not worthy of you. Okay. I love you so much. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.